An era has finally come to an end in Call of Duty Esports. One of the greatest and most known Call of Duty tournaments is no more. The CWL is no longer with us. So let us take a minute of silence to salute all the fun memories it's given us. Now that that silence is over, let's talk about a topic that is not only puzzling but really freaking stupid, honestly. So the Call of Duty Esports scene is changing, but it's changing pretty drastically. It's Michael Jackson skin tone changing drastic. We are going from current setup teams like Optic, FaZe, Evil Geniuses, and other well-known organizations to what will be known as franchises. Now take this video with a grain of salt. I don't know every single detail about this, and I could be wrong with what I'm going to tell you today and talk about in this video, and things could be subject to change at any time. So with that being said, let's jump into it. So when I say that the Call of Duty teams are now moving to what is referred to as franchises, I mean the teams will now be city-based and have a single location. For example, in American football, we have the LA Rams, and for basketball, we have the LA Lakers. So for instance, let's say that for all purposes of this video, Optic will be our example. Optic will now be disbanded and divided, and the name Optic will now fall under something new, like the New York Warriors or the Florida Armadillos. They will no longer be known as Optic Gaming when the players compete. None of the current teams will have their names or logos, and more than likely won't even have their entire set of teammates. And like I said, it could be subject to change. Maybe Optic, keeps it as like Optic Warriors or something stupid, But from what I've gathered, the franchises are more than likely going to do a draft. I'm assuming it's similar to like Madden drafts where you start a franchise. So how it works is basically all players are up for grabs. Let's say the New York Warriors get to draft a player. They will decide their choice and choose a player of their needs, and then they will submit their pick, and then they will obtain the player as long as he hasn't or already wasn't drafted by another team. Then up next, the Florida Armadillos are able to choose, and they pick up another player, and the cycle will continue till either everyone is on a team or the teams have all the players they need or want. So teammates from current Call of Duty Esports teams could very easily not be teammates, and I don't know how far things will go for like contracts and things like that. I don't know if they'll be paid a certain amount like how professional athletes are paid, or if they only obtain their money through their earnings and through media like YouTube or Twitch or Instagram and stuff. I don't know if teams can trade players or if a player can request to be traded because their team's ass, and I'm not 100%, but I heard and read that the teams will travel to away games and have home games as well. That could just be a rumor though. But my question, I'm sure it's a question on everyone's mind who follows this stuff, is whether or not this is a good idea and look for Call of Duty Esports. With this whole, city-based team thing, or is it going to be a complete plunder? I mean, you are taking a lot of people's hard work and the things that they've done over the years away from them and basically starting everything from scratch. And of course members are going to follow, or fans are going to follow wherever their favorite players land, but still. Honestly, teams might not pull weight like they do now. Are you telling me that a random team that isn't owned by the previous COD owners is going to have more backing and followers than a team like Optic or FaZe currently would? If you say yes, I should slap the dog piss out of you, because I know very well that that's a big amount of bullshit you're trying to feed me. Let's be honest here. The New York Warriors won't be loved or followed nearly as much as FaZe or Optic Gaming currently is. And I mean, there are fans that have been with these teams since the very beginning, so obviously they're going to follow them. But still, since trickshotting was a thing back in the day, that's where all these teams came up, it blew up back in the day. When Call of Duty had the highest amount of views, and Minecraft and Halo were the only thing able to compete its view counts. That's when people really, that's really when COD, peaked. People have been with these organizations for years, like I said. Sure, these organizations will still be around and will still technically be a brand, but for a lot of these teams, Call of Duty was the essence of these teams' identities. FaZe is a kind of moving forwards towards Fortnite as their main gaming priority, but they were still founded upon Call of Duty. COD Esports will not be the same without these teams. Yes, people will still follow their favorite players no matter what team they land on, but for many fans, they aren't gonna want to watch some new teams take over of what, you know, they've spent their childhood watching. Like, if you spent your childhood watching Kobe and, you know, the teams got bought out and he had to be sent to another team, you know, are you still gonna want to watch the Lakers? Like, you know, you see what I'm saying here? It was because of these teams that I actually genuinely like games so much. It showed me that there's nothing wrong with being pale and not going outside. They've also shown me that a life with games can be fun and rewarding, and it's not wasting, you know, quote unquote, wasting your life away. It's actually really sad to see these teams break apart like that. Some of the funniest things I've seen on YouTube have come from these people being on a team together, and, you know, being in a team house under this organization, whether even if their teammates are not, if they're just in the, you know, the squad together. But hey, maybe I'm wrong, man. Maybe this is exactly what esports needs, especially Call of Duty Esports. Maybe this is what could change people's lives. Maybe a year from now, I'll be eating my words, thinking to myself that I was such an idiot for thinking that this isn't the move. But until then, these franchises can suck an oyster's cock, because I'm going to stick with my opinion for now. But that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Let me know your opinion down below in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, my dudes.